Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Welcome, everyone, to another special episode of Voice Rising, and I am delighted to have with us today the remarkable Marya Stark, a modern-day minstrel bard whose voice is not just heard, but felt. Marya's music and poetry have the transformative power to heal, inspire, and guide us back to our authentic selves. And for those of you who may not know Marya's work or may be new to her work, she has released several beautiful projects, including Everbloom and Warriors of Light, which showcase her unique blend of soulful expression and sacred artistry. Her music is deeply rooted in spiritual awakening, and her voice serves as a bridge to divine connection. And in today's conversation, we're going to explore how Marya channels divine expression through her songs and how creativity, music, and the voice can lead us on the path of spiritual awakening and soul nourishment. So I welcome you very warmly to Voice Rising. Marya, it's so good that you're here today.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I said this right before we went on. I've been walking with your music in the forests and in the train stations of Europe for a long time. You are very prolific and poetic, and it's exactly it's the deep, nourishing music which I enjoy. There's so many short mantras out there, and it's just so nice to have long poems. I really honor you for that. So tell me, you're on the path. You yourself say modern day minstrel bard, and what first called you to this path, and how did you discover the power of music and your voice being like your voice as a sacred tool?
Wonderful question. Well, my mom loves to say I came out of the womb singing, and I was always really drawn to the currents of music and participating in playing music. I just always felt home there. And I really started to, as a young child, like 7, 8, 9, when I would steal away moments by myself and drop in. There was always this call from the mystery to drop in and like let sound currents come through. And so at a very young age, I started to explore surrendering to that and would fall into these trance states and these altered states where I felt really connected to the other than human reality. And it felt just the realms that no one was talking about that I felt the most belonging to were right there anytime I opened my mouth.
Yeah.
And so that was just a deep current. That was an intuitive knowing. And then I studied music classically in middle school and high school and into college. I went to Chapman University, and they have a beautiful music conservatory there. And I went there to study voice. But the first semester I was there, I took the Introduction to Music Therapy class, and it blew my mind and my heart open to the possibility of music and sound as a bridge which is something I already knew, but that there was language and methodology and practicum and cultural placement inside of that. And so that's the moment when music and voice really became a path of self-realization and spiritual, like, alchemy for me personally.
In your song, Keep the Light On, you speak of the importance of holding on to that light through life challenges. I mean, if you think of music therapy, it's also the amazing power that music has through challenges, whether it's depression or grief, to really help us find ways to come into that harmony so that we can continue, right? To take the deep breaths and continue on. So how does music help you keep that inner light? I imagine you have a lot going on, Marya. So you're laughing.
There's a lot going on in the realm. You know, I find that I am creating a lot right now as a way to manage my experience. But I would say music for me right now is, it's interesting. You know, when I was younger, I was going through a more tumultuous emotional time, I would listen to songs and they would become these places of sanctuary for me to work out all my, like, emotional and psyche stuff. And it's interesting that now, having been a composer for many years, I listen to music a lot less, and except for very, like, in the morning when I want to just drop into it's more about dropping into my body and out of my mind and emotions and into a state of just abiding presence. I'll find music that can support that. But I love going to a rowdy show to just feel uplifted and inspired and hear words and hear poems. I think that they keep the spirit fires lit. And that's how it occurs for me now. But a lot of my music is in composition. Like, I feel ravenous for creation most of the time. And so I'm often just trying to keep up with a production calendar that is aspiring to scratch the itch of my unsatiable love of creating.
Your thirst. You're thirsty. You're thirsty, girl, to drink from the divine.
I do.
But
there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Exposed. There you go. There you go.
I stand exposed with my love of it.
Yeah. Well, let's listen in. Let's give the people a taste of your beautiful music. Keep the Light On is the first track that we're going to share today from Marya's music. You have been listening to Keep the Light On by Marya Stark, and she's with me today in studio. We're here at Voice Rising. Marya blending wisdom of the past with music and poetry, connecting to our ancestors. As a bard, you carry ancient traditions forward. What's it like to feel those ancestors around you and at the same time bring them into the here and now and beyond of tomorrow? How's that?
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
friendly. And it's interesting that you've been talking about this, bringing them forward, because I've been really contemplating lately what it is to anchor in ancestral wisdoms for the modern, contemporary, future forward life, and what it is to like really hold the intactness while also being of this time, while also being not of this time. It's just been an interesting meditation on time and on what is the timelessness and the unbroken stream that exists, that connects these things. So I feel that awareness and that music is such an interesting doorway and way to commune with that time, because in that feeling of music there's this timelessness. There's like you listen to a song and it unfolds over 5 minutes, but it seems to touch a space that is outside of chronos.
Time.
You know, there's a deeper time essence that it brings us into connection to. And so as someone who participates actively in playing with that, I feel it's part of my job description to sit at that threshold often. Like, how can I balance chronos and the ticking clock time of the people with this deep time, this kairos time, this out of time, this unbroken stream where everything's connected, and the sound of your voice time.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think a lot of people that are not doing music themselves don't realize that even within the same time, we have different times, right? I mean, that is the magic of music, that even if we have a 3/4 time in the, let's say, I don't know, 120 beats a minute or whatever, if we change just it to 6/8 times, we have different feelings. So it's just really to, like this last piece that we were listening to, I just found myself almost like rocking, like, and just like, coming into that really deep trance. And talking about our ancestors, I don't want to go on a tangent, but it's been very fascinating for me too, not only with connecting with the music of my own lineage, but also the food. I found that when I come back to a little bit eating like my great grandparents and grandparents, and honoring and realizing that I didn't grow up in a Costa Rican jungle, so maybe bananas, even though I love them, are not the thing, and maybe I need to eat a good apple. It really started to resonate in my cell structure. So I think we can learn a lot from honoring the ancestors in so many different ways. And it's beautiful that you're doing that. You always are nurturing the creative practice. Your music is very transformative. Can you share with us one of those aha moments, either in concert or where one of the songs that came through you were very deeply transformed by that song or by that moment?
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
I mean, the name of the game, right? Like, that's the process of, opening to, we can think about the future self. Like, oftentimes I find that I will catch a song in the moment that is being gifted to me from like a future time of where I've embodied something in a future time, and then I'm singing a song, and I'm opening a song that is part of helping me connect to this future me and become her. And that by writing it, it's like the spell writing is right there. And then the more I sing it, the more I become that. I can share that with a song called Temple Body, which is a song I haven't released yet. I've released a live version, so you can go find it on YouTube. But I've released this. I wrote this song in a really cool workshop experience, and I felt really connected to it then. But as it's been multiple years of singing this song on stage, like, I have become a different artist, and my stage shows have become different to hold this song. And the album that I'm making to support this song has changed how I think about music, and it's changed how my goals. It's expanded my view of what's possible for my future self. Just writing this song did that, and performing it. That's one song example. I'll just share one more. There's a song on my recent album, Weightless, called How Did the Song? And it's a song all about how did the song come? You know, it's a song about the many ways that the songcraft comes. And writing that song was really special because it solidified something that I had talked about in my teachings, and it's something that I've been thinking about for 20 years. But then I wrote it, and there was some freedom that I got to have. And I feel like writing that song actually changed my relationship with the song realms. Like, I feel like I wrote this song, and then I got more information, or I got to see into more of the subtle architecture of my own mind and what I'm relating with when I'm collaborating with energies in songs that feel outside of my own experience or myself, like how I actually get to relate to a current of information that is beyond my own identity or ego structure. And that information was kind of loosely available. But once I wrote this song, How Did the Song? All of that information started to be extremely, like, very clear. Like, I could start to write essays about it. And before I wrote that song, I couldn't articulate it. You know, something that locked in sharing that song that opened an encyclopedia.
Yeah. So are you teaching now songwriting also? And are you doing workshops where you're sharing?
Yeah, I do. I went to school for music therapy, like I started to mention, and so much of my work has been simultaneously being a craft person, like someone who catches songs and composes and performs them. But I also love guiding others through self-realization practices through the expressive arts. I find myself to be really deeply passionate about that. I have a school called Temple of the Muse online, and we do in-person workshops and virtual workshops. I lead 9-month immersions for women where we go through initiatory gates of the womb as a way to reclaim our creative power. And so a lot of my work, and you'll hear this in some of my songs, has been deeply steeped in, harnessing and working with the womb energies. And so I love taking people through that as well, because I think it's really powerful for all women to go through something like that, even if they don't consider themselves a professional artist or that's not their path of vocation. It's still extremely powerful for vitality and reclaiming personal grace and freedom and creativity.
It's very powerful. Beautiful that you're doing that work for
Thank you.
Our world. What does your own creative practice look like? Do you have rituals every day, or do you follow your own muse, or how's that go?
Yeah, it depends on the season I'm in. Each season of creative practice requires a different set of processes. So, like, for example, right now, I'm releasing some smaller projects, and I'm in the middle of writing and producing my next album. So there's different practices that I need to be in while I'm in release mode, and then when I'm in producing mode, when I'm in the studio, and when I'm in writing mode. So if I'm in the studio, I'll be in the studio later today. I go in there with some clear ideas and open inspiration. I need to be well fed and in a good mood. So I try to work on some mood stuff. But if I'm going to be in composition mode where I'm solo, I need to be offline. I need to actually like carve out time where I'm not responding to
Isn't
emails
that
or
funny? Mm-hmm.
being on the phone at all. And then when I'm in release mode, I need to be online every day for a few hours, so I can't do all of those things every day. I need to have different weeks for different parts of that process, or even different seasons. So yeah, exactly.
I love how you say that, seasons, because I've tried it with even days, and it's very hard to turn off all the electronics and get into that pure space where you have that receptivity that one needs to receive the songs, right? I think that's the thing. As soon as we get the electronics, our attention is well, a little bit distracted, but it's also very outgoing into the world, which you're going to need when you release your albums. Of course, you're going to need to connect and do radio shows. I'm glad I caught you in the right season. That's what I'm glad. So otherwise you'd be in a cabin somewhere all hunkered down with a big quilt around your shoulders and some candlelight, and you'd be like, no interviews in the moment. Exactly.
So, which I love those seasons, because I'll take a week off here and there, and I'll be offline, and I'll really be in be in creativity retreat. And the thing with the modern context is that we need actually a few days to recover from modernity. So if I go into creative retreat, I'm not just jumping into creative flow. I actually probably need 3 or 4 days where I'm unwinding and just napping a lot and kind of feeling bored and feeling my system recovering from the constant responding before I can even access that flow. So I try and carve that space out for myself throughout the year, so that I can interrupt the cycles that I get into when I'm in other parts of the production.
Yeah, beautiful. Mm-hmm. I love it. Tell us about storytelling. Storytelling plays a very big role in your music. How do you weave the art of storytelling into the healing power of your work and your voice?
Yeah, well, human brains are wired for story. Mm-hmm. We make stories all the time. And it's one of the ways we make meaning. And I love. It's a natural part of. I've always been a story writer since the time I was a little kid. Some of my first creative endeavors were writing little stories and writing little comedy routines and just little. I would write these little comedy monologues as a 7-year-old. They would just pop out. Yeah. And so I started to have a knack for it. But I think that at this time, when I feel a song coming, it'll come with a whole character voice and a whole storyline that will just sort of tumble forward. I feel more like I'm witnessing the story and documenting it rather than creating it myself. I feel I'm just like a historian writing down what's happening on the cloud, and I find that as being on stage and getting to share stories about songs, kind of guiding people into an experience I'm hoping to convey, that's a part of taking people through a journey, taking the psyche, the mind, and taking them into different parts of a space and being like a host. I do storytelling like I'm hosting someone inside of a home that I'm bringing them into. And go to each room and I tell them about their room and tell them some fun anecdotes there, and so that they can leave that house with an enriched experience. But all the while, the stories are there to connect and to play and to uplift and to feel more of the human parts of us. Because music has that ability to relate with people on that emotional level. And for me, storytelling helps for some types of thinkers. I'm sure some people don't want to hear all my stories, but for some people, it helps them ease into feeling deeper with the song. So I love to just be a good host in that way.
And to relax with all our facets. I love that when you say your many voices. I mean, I feel like I have so many different characters sometimes that come through when I'm deeply relaxed. And maybe people that work with the voice a lot sense it, but I think we all have these different kind of the one like this and the high voice, and that we just can play, right? We just play with
Totally.
our voices, and it helps us to realize that we have, different facets of ourselves, and it's so beautiful if we embrace them. Then we become so rich and luscious in a way. Yeah, Marya, we're going to take a very short break for our sponsors who help make the show possible. And then for everybody out there, make a tea, listen to those sponsor breaks, and we're going to be back with Marya very shortly.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
With happy clients all over the world, Kara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Kara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Kara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.karajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for
summer break because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing
a job and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back. If you're enjoying today's conversation, we'd love for you to share the episode with your friends and subscribe to Voice Rising on your favorite streaming platform, because your support helps bring even more incredible guests to share their wisdom with you. And so now let's dive back in with Marya Stark. And it's all about voice and songwriting and the Rose lineage. Marya, share with us more about your song, Rose Lineage, and the message behind it.
Thank you. This song was interestingly composed when I was in a vocal practice. I was just singing, droning with my loop pedal, thinking about relaxing into that timeless space. And this song started to pour out, and I feel like I had been trying to write the song for years. I sometimes, as a songwriter, I will write a song and then I'll write another song and I'll keep writing songs until finally I hit it. I'm like, that's the song I was trying to write. And maybe I wrote 6 or 7 songs to get there, but and some of those are great too. And I feel like with Rose Lineage, I feel like I wrote my entire album Lineage to try and write that song Rose Lineage, which was an interesting experience. Once it came forward, I was like, aha, this is the thing I've been trying to uncover all of these years of womb wisdom, of exploring the divine feminine, of exploring the blood mysteries, of exploring just an ancestry. When that song came forward, I felt at peace that like I had completed an initiatory cycle, and I could like be free in some way. And it tumbled forth. It started as a poem. It moved in, emerged from many years of meditating on my cycle and the phases of womanhood and the initiatory phases of the womb. And I'm so happy that it's been so well received by my community and has become one of my most played songs. I feel honored and grateful, because it's definitely one of those songs for me where I feel like I did my job.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's listen. Let's listen to it. Rose Lineage, Marya Stark. Yeah, you've been listening to Rose Lineage. Marya Stark is with me in studio, and it's such profoundly beautiful work that you do. I really think, just for all women out there, from our cycles and embracing that wisdom, to suddenly I was remembering that our egg from which we are created was in our grandmother's womb, right? Or something like that. Isn't it something like that? And it's just to realize this river of life. It's so profound because nobody ever talks about it. Right? The blood being something sacred, or the first period being, or cycle being honored, or when you get older, it's like, people, when we get older, women are no longer, it's like you're no longer able to give birth, but just this richness of being in another season, as you say, and being in another time, right? Being out of time and in time. And I think that is such a great gift, because there's so many songs in pop music. It's all about falling in love and falling out of love. And you're bringing people back to just the richness of being here on earth with our feet on the ground, and our dreams and our imagination and everything in the sky, and then transcending time and space from our ancestors to the future. And it's just so nourishing to listen to your songs. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I really, I also, I'm writing out there and singing, and it's just always so lovely to be able to relax into a space where you're like, wow, that is truth. Like truth, you can tell that it's a channel. You can really tell. It's really lovely. Talk to me about that bridge, about getting out of the way so you can catch those songs, so you can, imagine how many stories have crossed your tongue and your lips. I mean, your footprints have seen the beaches and the mountains, but how many sounds have gone over that tongue of yours, So,
I think that what it is that willingness to interrupt the automatic thing that's happening, right? Like if I'm in my automatic mode, I'm not taking perspective on it. And the moment that I take perspective on the moment, if I just slow down enough and go, then for me, it's almost a softening of the gaze. It's a tuning into a wavelength that's underneath the like quick mental, just gotta get stuff done mind thing that happens. It's just part of our waking life. It's tapping into, okay, well, what's one wavelength deeper than that? And just letting it happen, and just choosing it, like asking, just slowing down, taking a breath, going into that place. And from that place, I think for me, it's just a training of the muscle of, there's a doorway there. There's usually a doorway with a feeling or a word or a phrase or a color or a metaphor. Usually it's like a metaphor for me, or it's just the thing that I need to say that's beneath everything else that I'm saying. That's just a little bit more direct or intimate. And as soon as I can hear that intimate first word, that intimate first phrase, then I can just ride the waves all the way through into what it wants to unravel and reveal.
Yeah. Talk to us about your song Alluvium, which is flowing and moving with the currents of life, or that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, well, this is a song, different than the way other songs are caught for me, because we've been talking mostly about word poem songs. Alluvium doesn't have any words. It was born from this dream that I had many years ago, where I was I was connected to a family of water spirits, and there was this feeling that before carbon-based life forms, there were these energetic beings that lived in the waters of planet Earth, and that in the waters we made movements and dances and songs, and from our sound created seeds of light that germinated life forms. And they started to feel like these ancestors, these water spirit ancestors. And I had always wanted to make an album that was what their songs must have sounded like. and so many years later, 15 years later, I invited my friend Daniel Berkman to come up to my house, and we played together in drawing out the songs of the water spirits. And he plays kora and cello and ondomo, very watery, beautiful instruments. And we composed back and forth these songs. And it was an opportunity to really get to tune into melody and sounds that go beyond mental meaning, that were just emotive and feeling. And the word alluvium, it's the word that means, it's a type of sediment that is found in the rivers, that it's like what the rivers have left behind. So it's almost like this material that the ancestors have left behind, and it's like the alluvium. So I named that song Alluvium, to feel like, oh, these are the songs that the water ancestors have left us. They're here with us all the time. We can hear them when we tune into the waters of our own body. We can hear their songs anytime we're tapping into water. We can hear the original songs of life.
Let's listen. I want to listen now. I'm thirsty. Thirsty for Marya. I'm thirsty. Alluvium. it. We feel it's almost like ancestral water, right? That's what you were saying, like water beings. Share with us, all of us that are listening. So many of us are on the voice path, on the vibrational wellness path. Share with us some advice that you would have for people that are shy or nervous or don't really trust in their own voice yet, although everybody has this beautiful channel running through them. How could they tap into that beauty?
I love to start with people by guiding us all to sing first with our mouth closed, to sing first with sounds that aren't meant to be heard yet, that are meant to first to be felt and to be offered as a gift of nourishment to our nervous system, to our body.
Yeah.
I love to start with just humming and singing to my heart, singing to my chest, singing to my belly. And when I do that, I really allow myself to relax into that. And as a hug, I say, well, if I was just giving the vibration as a gift to myself, to all the places in me that are anxious or overwhelmed or afraid or worried about how I sound outside, that we're just going to let the sound come and soothe those parts first. And I find that when I do that, humming, as many of the listeners know, but just as a reminder, is one of the ways that we can bring our nervous system into a state of homeostasis and of regulation out of a stress response. And so when we start to form a habit of humming to the body, what I notice for myself is that I start to form a relationship with my voice as a medicine of self-soothing. And my voice becomes increasingly a safe space for me to exist inside of, rather than, because I think oftentimes people get caught up with their voice as a tool to relate outside of themselves, which is fair enough. We're using the voice as a bridge to bear what's inside of us to someone else and hope they get it. But I find that starting there, it skips this very important step of building relationship first to self. And so the more that I sing and use my voice as a way to actually just connect to my body and to my instrument and to the rivers of light inside of my being, the easier it becomes to share my voice in these moments with others, because I'm not afraid of my voice. My voice is a safe place for me. And I create more safety when I'm around others in sharing my voice. It might still get shaky, there might still be vitality, but I've created a systemic anchor for myself that my voice is a gift, it's medicine, it's safe for me first. And so that's what I love to tell people. And that's how I start all of my classes and all of my voice work. We're going to hang out and give ourselves this gift of sound first before we expand it outside of the self.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful. Beautiful. So what would you love your listeners? You have a very loyal audience. And I'm sure after today's show and in the future, after, more and more releases, you're going to have more and more people falling in love with what you do and carrying you like me in their pocket and putting on the headphones and just feeling you inside my bones. So what would you love to have your listeners take with them when they listen in to these creations and these little gems that just pop out and are there for us to enjoy?
Oh, I really hope that if anyone gets anything from listening to my art and participating with my world in any way, is that the world is full of of magic and beauty and love. And even amidst the heartbreak and the chaos, there's still these rivers of beauty, and that it's available to all of us. And that if my world of art can help you remember for a moment that it exists, that means it is existing in you, because to perceive beauty, one must have to have beauty inside of them. And so there's any perceiving of beauty over here, just feeling it, giving that back to yourself as well.
And how important, right? How important everyone's focusing on how scary the world is and how climate change and wars and everything, for us to look at the roses and the wildflowers and the sky, and that the moon is not falling on our heads, and that the sun continues to rise every morning. Like you said, it's like there's so much magic. There's so much magic if we soften the gaze and look for it. Yeah, so I want to thank you, Marya. Maybe you share with everybody your homepage quickly, because you have so many projects out there.
Yeah, well, I'd love for folks to come find me at templeofthemuse.com. That's where you can learn more about my teachings. I have a workshop coming up at the end of May called Breaking the Silence for Liberating the Boys. It'll be online. And then you can find my music at marya-stark.com, Marya-Stark. And you can find my music everywhere on Spotify, on Instagram, all the places.
Exactly. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube channels, everything. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and your wisdom, and creating safe spaces also for women also to explore the many parts of our body. I mean, I guess I would say it like that, from our different cycles and our connecting with our ancestors. And for everybody else out there, we believe in the power of voice and vibrational wellness here at Voice Rising. We believe very strongly in the voice to heal. I love that Marya is starting with humming, because it's a very lovely place to connect, to bring that coherent space between the heart and mind, and the head and the body, and the inner and the outer. Thank you again for being part of the journey. And if you missed a part of today's show, or if you want to share it with a friend and re-listen, just do that. And we're going to be back with more guests in the future. Our next one is all about frequency and wellness, Debbie Selwood. And thank you, Marya, again for being with me at Voice Rising.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Who takes a chance? Who dares to laugh? Let's dance. It's the greatest story ever told. How the smallest voice turns big to bold. We have the strength to rise above. Believe in all. And